I'm live. Hello. Good. You guys are able to chat. I had an issue in my last class where people couldn't chat with me. So, um, Rosemary, you've been with me before now, right? I think you have. Either you or another Rosemary. Um, ah, you're so great, Steve. I just love this. I love that you're turning into this crazy yogi. Okay, there's my other cat, Nancy. You're here, right? Nancy. This is Whiskey. She is our other new cat. So I don't know if she'll stay in. Debbie, you're here. I was hoping you were going to come. I was going to text you soon. Oh, that's right. You have been here. You couldn't chat. Perfect. Perfect. Yes, yes, yes. And okay, great. Sorry, Rosemary. I thought that name looked familiar. Then I just didn't see the last name. I was like, is that the last name? George H to you too. I'm assuming that's hi. Um, all right. How are you all doing? I don't know where you live, Rosemary. We are in Southern California and it is getting really hot. So that's what's happening here. Um, yes, I don't know how long that's going to last right there, how long I'm going to leave him in here. He was in here this morning. Oh, God. He was in here for my class before this, which is yoga for osteoporosis. And I was up and he was jumping on me. And okay, that's not going to last. Hey, okay, he's too rough. So, Hamilton, come here. Out, 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 out. Come on, go. Get out. Psst. Go. 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 It's going to throw a ball at him, but you know what'll happen, and they'll start playing. So we'll see if I open that door. Anyway, welcome to you guys, whoever's here. Yeah, cats could be an issue. Scott, they are, I think. Sorry, I'm reading without glasses. Hi, Michael. Fingers faster than the brain. Yeah. All right. Anyway, oh, you're from Queens? Is that what you said? I didn't even see that. That Rosemary said Queens. Oh, you're in New York. Yeah, my husband is from Queens. I used to live in New York. I lived in the city for 3 years. Loved it. Anyway, well, I hope you're well, and I hope your family and friends are well, because New York has definitely had a very challenging time now. And I think that for many of us, I speak for myself, and I think I speak for a lot of people, that our heart goes out to New York with what's happening now. And so I hope that you and everyone you know, Westchester, okay. Okay, well, I hope you're doing well, and all those that you know and love are safe. So anyway, welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to you, and then welcome to everyone else. I'm glad that we're all here together. This is Yoga for Balance, and I think today I've got some nice ways for you to challenge yourself. And I'd like to say that this morning and on Tuesday and on Monday, I was studying with Dr. Lauren Fishman. He certified me in yoga for osteoporosis, and he is in New York, actually, Rosemary. He's in the city. He works at Manhattan Rehabilitation, and he's a physiatrist, which is a doctor of physical medicine. And you know what's amazing? Today he told us he's 79 years old. And I got certified by him in 2017, and I thought he said he was 72. But anyway, he's 79, and he was doing headstand today on our webinar, and it's amazing what this man does. And so he was explaining today about balance, and he was talking about arthritis, and that arthritis is the number one what's the word? Disability. It's the number one disability in America. 50 million people have arthritis. And a lot of it is degeneration with age. And then also, if your joints aren't properly stacked, there's a wear and tear, or the bones calcify to create a bigger surface area, like in bone spurs. And so what he was talking about today with balance or coordination in a joint is that when we properly stack our joint, and this is what he said was the benefit of yoga, is that what yoga does is it actually balances out the pressure in the joint. and the coordination of the pressure and the balance in the joint so that you take the tension or the pressure away from one side of the joint that maybe is getting repetitive pressure or motion and is wearing down. So think of the word balance. I think a lot of us think of balance as I'm going to stand on one foot or I'm going to be able to stand up and have better balance. I'd like us to think about balance, that balance takes place through the nervous system, talking to the muscles on what needs to turn on. It also can be thought of as balance the way that the joints are stacked on top of each other. And there's a play that takes place to find that. It's kind of like the elephant balancing on a ball. When you have that, see that it's in cartoons, of course. The elephant's foot is on a ball, and there's this back and forth happening, and that's happening inside of our body. So today in class, we're going to work with this play of our body weight in different areas. And so I'm excited about today's class. I'm excited about classes always. It's just that this morning I did some extra study. And so I think that the class that I've created for us today is a nice one. And I always try to spice it up and do different things so that you have many tools in your many tools in your treasure chest to access when you need them. So, the first part of balance is the nervous system. And that's what we do in the beginning of class. We allow our mental energy to settle and we allow our nervous system to switch from fight, flight, freeze to rest, digest, repair, and restore. So, that is the goal of class today in the beginning, is to balance the nervous system. So I'd like you to find a very comfortable position to come into. And that may be with your legs up against the wall. That may be with your legs supported by a chair. And that may be with a bolster or pillows or something underneath your legs. So whatever it is, I'd like you to come to your mat. This is the opportunity to balance the nervous system. To send the signal to your nervous system that the coast is clear and everything is okay. So you're going to take a towel, a pillow, or a blanket for your head. You could have a bolster underneath your knees. That was here to show that you could have a bolster underneath your knees. You could have your legs up the chair. You could have your legs up the wall. Choose whatever is appropriate or right for you. I think I will actually do that bolster underneath my knees. So come all the way down onto the floor. Come all the way down onto the floor. And if the floor is not comfortable for you, I can't see you guys, so I don't know where you are or what's going on for you. If the floor is not comfortable for you to be on, you could be on a chair, you could be on the bed, whatever it is. Something so you could find relaxation in your body. And we're going to do that by slowing down the breath and equalizing out the breath so that we send the signal to the nervous system that everything is okay. And it's important that we balance out our nervous system response throughout the day so that the nervous system is not in the chronic stress response. So I'm not sure if any of you did any relaxation today. Not everybody does. It's a really good thing to add relaxation, meditation, breath work, which are all a part of yoga, to your life so that you can stimulate the relaxation, healing zone in the body and in the mind. Bring your awareness to wherever you are, closing the eyes, find comfort in your body. I'd like to play with balancing out the breath in the lungs today. I'd like you to bring your hands onto your upper chest. Let the hands rest on the chest. The arms are supported on the floor. And I'd like you to have the jaw really soft. So take the lower jaw and wiggle the jaw back and forth, side to side. And then allow the lips to barely touch. Allow the jaw to relax. Feel the pressure on the back of the head. Try to let the pressure be felt right behind the space in between the top lip and the nose, or right at the bottom nose where the nostrils are. That's where I'd like you to feel the pressure at the back of the head. Bring your awareness to your left leg. Shake it a little bit, make it nice and long. Lengthen it out of the socket and then rest it down on the floor or on the chair, and then, or against the wall, whatever you've chosen. And then do the same thing with the right leg, nice and long, letting the legs rest wherever they are. Spread your hands really wide and bring your awareness to the hands that are on the upper chest. Start to breathe in slowly to the upper chest so that you feel the hands rise up towards the sky as you breathe in. Feel your hands rise and notice, where is your chest moving? Is it moving near the upper chest by the throat? And then notice if it's moving equal on both sides, right side and left. And then bring your breath in the nostrils, down the back of the throat, and direct all the breath over to the right lobe, the right side of the chest. Add a slight restriction in your throat. So you slow the breath down on the way in, you slow the breath down on the way out. You're breathing in the nose, down the back of the throat, directing the breath to the right lung. Feeling the hand on the right side of the chest rise and fall with breath. And if it sounds crazy what I'm asking you to do, let go of the crazy thought. Let go of it being crazy. See if you can actually visualize the pathway. The breath comes in the nostrils, down the back of the throat, and to the right lung. And let's see if we could do that to the left. You're breathing in the nose. Visualize the breath coming in the throat and then branching off to the left lobe, the left lung. For me, it helps if I actually visualize a pathway that I could see the breath coming in and going to one lung at a time. Try one more breath like that. To the left. And then let's equalize that out. Bringing the breath in, allow it to freely flow to both lobes. Feel the chest rise into your hands. Then let's take the hands and slide the hands down so that the thumbs are right where the lower ribs are. Spread the palms and allow the hands to rest on the belly. Begin to deepen the breath, bringing the breath down to the lower lobes of the lungs. The diaphragm, the primary breathing muscle, lines the entire lower rib cage. So feel that as you breathe in, it's like a plunger. As the diaphragm moves down or bows out downward, it sucks in the breath, it sucks in oxygen into your lungs. And the belly rises when you do this. So feel that action happening. You draw in the breath, the belly rises. Try to let the belly stretch as much as you can. Feel that stretch. Wherever you are, take 3 more breaths, long and slow and deep to your belly. Feel the belly rise. Feel the belly pressing in to the hands. Make your last breath be your longest and your deepest. And go ahead and let the breath go back to the body. So allow yourself to be breathed. Let the autonomic nervous system take over your breath as it does for you all day long, every day, when you're not getting involved. And then just notice how you feel. Notice if there's a relaxation that came into your body. Notice anything you notice about your emotional body or your nervous system. So notice how you feel in that sense. Bring your awareness to your fingers and to your toes. Start to bring movement into your fingers and to your toes. Rolling your ankles and your wrists. Contracting the core, let's bring the knees into the chest slowly. Drawing the knees into the chest, then side to side, the lower back, release. Roll all the way onto your right side. We're going to come up to prepare our mat to do some uh, asana on the floor. Take your hand, let's lead with your left shoulder as you bring yourself up to seated. So at the end of the breathing for me, I almost yawned. And I notice because I practice yoga so often, and when I say yoga, I don't just mean the physical, I mean especially the meditation, the breath work is what I do the most. And when you're able to have this control over your nervous system like this, to send that signal to your nervous system that everything is okay, very powerful, balancing the physical and mental and emotional aspects of yourself. So I'd like to really emphasize that so that we don't think that yoga for balance is just about standing on one leg and finding that balance in our physical body, realizing that there's a major importance of having um, mental emotional balance as well. So bring yourself, we're going to come all the way down onto the floor. Before you come down onto the floor, can you please make sure that you have a strap and a block? If you don't have a strap, grab a towel to act as a strap. We're going to stretch out the legs so that when we do our standing work, the communication that travels up and down the legs is unobstructed, opening up the pathways so that your nervous system can communicate to your muscles. Let's come all the way down onto our backs. Coming all the way down into the backs, the knees are bent. Take the arms overhead and just stretch your body, take your legs long. Then you're going to emulate the walking action. So the top of the hip bones, think about your hip bones. One hip bone slides up towards the shoulder while the other one slides down towards the feet. And then the other, you switch. So one hip bone comes up, one down. So if you're able to see the screen, my hands are on my hip bones. So that you'll notice that when my hands move, it's a very small range of motion. You can see my right hip, or it looks like it's my right hip to you guys in the screen. And there's a very, very small movement. My knees do not bend. It's just really small movement. It's like pistons, the pistons in a car. The arms are overhead and the legs are nice and long, stretching your body. Then you're going to draw your left knee, so your right knee into your chest. Draw your right knee into your chest. Draw that knee in. This is a very basic way to stretch the body, to free up tension in the hips and below. And actually, this will be freeing for the back as well. Working the joints of the hips, the knees, and the ankle joint. Take your hands underneath your thighs. You're going to inhale to unbend, exhale to bend. At first, you may feel a little cranky behind your legs. This may be the first thing you've done today. Even if it's not, it's my second thing. I still feel a little tightness there in my legs. So just noticing you notice here as you flex and extend that leg. Try to come all the way into as close to a straight leg as you can get. Maybe you bring your hand farther down your leg just to get a little warmth to come into that hamstring. And then go ahead and put a slight bend as you inhale to point that foot. Feel that strong stretch in the front of the foot. And then exhale to flex. Inhale to point, exhale to flex. It's one of my favorite things to do to stretch the legs. I do this often in my classes. Really go through your full range of motion here so you feel that beautiful stretch in your ankle and in your leg, especially for those of you with issues in your tissues. I know one of you out there has some foot stuff, so I'd like you to really go slow here with the articulation of the ankle as you go around in circles. This is good for all of us. I just in particular was sending a little extra direction to one of you that has screws and plates and stuff in her foot. She knows who I'm referring to. And then slowly go in the other direction. Getting that nice articulation to come into that foot. Bring your foot onto the floor. Let your knee go directly out to the side. The other leg is straight. The knee is going out to the side. Notice what you notice. You may feel on the other side of your body something happening to the other side. I'd like you to be able to feel the adductor here. So I know some of you have knee stuff here, meaning knee people that are in this class. So this is really great to stretch the knee, the inner thigh attaches to the pelvis. Go ahead and bring your leg back up. Let's take that right foot on top of the left leg. If you're doing that leg, if you're doing the other, that's okay. And then go ahead and go into a twist. Take your opposite palm from or the same side knee that's bent. So if you're doing it what I have directed, you're going to have your right knee up. Take your right hand out to the side, and your right knee is going over to the left. Feel that big stretch. Maybe you mostly feel this in your shoulder, under armpit area. Not sure. Some of you may feel this in the thigh. And if you feel it in the low back, and if it's uncomfortable, push the top of the back forward. That may help you. And contract the core, push the core back towards the belly. So this is warming up rotational muscles of the trunk. Bring yourself back to center. Take the leg, we're going to switch. You're now going to bring your left knee in and straighten your right leg. You draw the leg in first, and this is lengthening the psoas on one side, stretching the hip flexor, and then hold on underneath the leg, and then let's inhale to unbend, exhale to bend. If you do have knee problems, and even if you don't have knee issues, I'd like you to try to get a real smooth flow. This is a hinge joint. I believe it's called a hinge joint. And it's the only real action of this knee joint is to flex the knee, is flexion. Extension, that's full extension, and then flexion. It's the largest joint in the body. It's also number one weight bearing joint in the body and most prone to injury. That's what I learned this morning on my knee workshop. Take your leg to a straight position if you can, really extending the knee as much as you can. So, whatever you can, I know some of you can't, don't worry. Remember, whatever you could do is perfect. Inhale, foot is flexed. Exhale, inhale, point. Exhale, flex. I'd like you to feel where you feel the stretch. The ankle joint, if the ankle joint is nice and limber, it takes away pressure from the knee joint. And then when we're talking about balance, whatever is perceived or noticed on the foot pad, whatever surface you're standing on, is transmitted up to the brain. And you want really nice open line of communication through the joints and all the way up to the brain. Slow circles here in one direction, slow circles in the other direction. And then we're going to stretch a little far. Oh, wait, sorry. Leg out to the side. Put the foot on the floor and let the leg move out to the side, stretching that inner thigh. Almost got carried away. Contracting the core, feel that inner thigh stretch. Notice where you feel this, maybe noticing this side versus the other. That's always interesting as well, to notice one side of the body versus the other. You're going to bring that leg up to center. We're going to take that foot. So if you're following me, the left foot goes on top of the right thigh. You hold on to that leg as you guide the leg over to the right. Take the right arm, or sorry, the left arm on the floor. And just noticing what you notice here. You can either raise the arm up or lower the arm if the shoulder is bothering you or if the sensation of tightness is too intense. Try to keep that shoulder blade, the left shoulder blade on the floor here. Twists are very relaxing for the nervous system. It's also good to create space in the body. And then if you have low back issues, it could stretch the low back muscles, and you also need to be careful depending on how much fear exists in your low back for those of you that have issues, or if you have any certain spinal conditions counterindicated to rotate the spine. One, I believe, is stenosis. Got to be careful. Take another breath here. Inhale. And then let's bring ourselves back to center. Let's stretch the leg here. So you're going to bend the other knee first. It's a little bit more safe for your body to move. Take the strap and put the strap to the widest part of the top of the foot. And it could be a strap, it could be a belt from your closet, it could be whatever it is, towel. And then we're going to keep the other knee bent for this. That will give us a little more range of motion in this leg. And then holding on with both one piece in one hand, one in the other, or just holding on with one hand. So whatever feels appropriate for you today. Try to straighten the leg if you can, and then draw the leg straight back towards the wall behind you or over the direction of the head. Whatever feels appropriate. Try to keep that leg straight. Take one more breath. And then let's bring yourself back right above you. If depending on how much flexibility you have, sliding your hand down, we're going to let our hand go out to the side so that that elbow comes onto the floor. So the left leg goes to the left. Belly button to spine. Foot is moving up towards the wall behind you. Push into the strap. Strap is near the top part of the foot. Feel that stretch on the inner thigh. So this stretch here is good for not the stretch in particular, but the leg stretches that we're doing. It's good for increasing the range of motion capability in the hip joint, the knee joint, the ankle joint, and freeing up issues in your tissues in your legs. So these are really great stretches for a lot of applications. Bending the knee, bring the knee back up. In osteoporosis, we do this to pull on the pelvis to create stronger pelvic bones, so for strength. And here I'm doing this to give more range of motion. My goal today, more range of motion in the ankle joint, knee joint, hip joint, and then on the sides and inner thigh of the leg. So now we're going to do the outer leg. So have the right knee bent, the strap is on the left foot, and the leg is right above your body. And you're going to slowly let the leg go over to the right. Feeling that in this upper area, maybe alongside the knee, on the whole side leg. Try to have the leg pretty high. So try not to have the leg down away from you. Have the leg pretty high when you do this. And keep both tushy cheeks on the floor. So we're stretching a muscle that's very high on the side of your leg, and then connective tissue that goes down the side of the leg. So we're stretching the lateral chain of the body. And this could be really great if you have knee issues on the inside of your knee or anywhere. Most of the knee issues, Dr. Fishman said today, were on the inner knee. Stretching, stretching, stretching. Let whatever stretching, feel that. Then bring yourself back to center. Let's switch legs. Take the foot up in the strap or the towel or the belt, whatever it is you're using. Keeping the other knee bent. You're going to draw that leg towards the wall behind you. Try to keep the leg straight if you can. And then when you're reaching up, the shoulder blades come away from the floor. So try to draw the shoulder blades towards the floor. And here's something else I didn't instruct on the other side I'd like to say. This is your quadricep muscle, the muscle on the front of your thigh. Bring your awareness to this whole muscle here. Firm it up. And when you firm that up, there will be a release at the back of the thigh. Antagonist and agonist, antagonist muscles. And if this one firms up, it releases the backside. So just feel what feels appropriate as you lengthen the back of the leg. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's take the strap, slide your hand down the strap. We're going to lengthen that leg out to the side. So try to make sure the leg stays up high when you come out to the side. When you go to the side, try not to let your leg go forward. So see how my leg is going forward there? You want your leg to be at the side, and then you want it to be going out to the side. Maybe if you have a block, if your legs are tight and you can't go down too far, sometimes taking a block and supporting the leg on the block, maybe up high if you need to, or maybe you're able to go a little lower and you can support your leg a little lower. So do whatever feels right for you. And then the opposite knee, can you let the opposite knee point up towards the ceiling? Contract the core to press the tushy towards the floor. Take the opposite elbow, push the opposite elbow into the floor. That can help stabilize as well when you're in this position. Breathe deep down to your belly. Feel whatever stretching stretch, creating space in your joints. Take one more breath. Then bending that knee, let's come back up to center. Take the leg straight above you. Now, I did not instruct this on the other side. When you go to the side like this, if you have a hip replacement, especially a posterior hip replacement, which means your incision is in the back, not in the front, going across the midline is counterindicated for a lot of people. So know if that's something you shouldn't be doing, or don't go so far if it is, if you are okay to do it. Taking your leg to the right, or sorry, to the left. This is my hip replacement side. It's actually my left side I'm doing. So I'm inside of my hip right now with my awareness. If you have issues in your tissues, I recommend that you go to where you have the issue to see what feels safe and appropriate for your body, so that you become really good with your interoception and reading what you should and shouldn't be doing. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back up to center. Take the block out. The strap off, sorry. Take the strap to the side. Let's do a little core awareness here. Not sure. I don't think that I saw anybody new in the beginning. I know Rosemary is new. This is her third class, so I'm going to say that you're a professional at this point, Rosemary. I'm not even going to call you new, although you are new. So I'd like to do a little core awareness. I'm not sure what classes you came to. Let's do a little core awareness. The core, this whole bottom part of our body, it protects the back. And when we stand up and we do our balance, we want to contract this core. I'm going to give you some of the visuals that I teach, see which ones work for you, and then use those. If you think about a sea anemone, when you go to the tide pools, that little hairy looking creature, if you touch it in the middle of its center, it closes in, it comes from the side around and then pushes down towards the center. That's what we're going to think about, a sea anemone coming in, wrapping around the body, and then pushing up towards the spine. That's going to be the visual of the core. Take your hands behind your head. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, start to close off your sea anemone, drawing everything inward, then to the center. Keep the elbows out to the side. Let the lower ribs go towards the spine. Let the belly button push towards the spine and the lower belly push towards the spine. And then inhale to lower. On the exhale, contract the core towards the center, pushing down towards the spine, lifting the upper body. Squeeze the block. Don't know if I mentioned to put a block between your knees. Block or a blanket between your knees. Exhale to rise, contract, activate your core. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. We're going to do double time this time. Exhale to rise. Stay here as you inhale. Sip the breath in. Exhale, reaffirm or close off that sea anemone. Try to flatten the low back into the floor, and then inhale to lower. Exhale to rise, contracting your core, closing your sea anemone. Flatten your low back into the floor. Stay here, inhale. Exhale, reaffirm that contraction. Inhale to lower. Exhale, squeeze the block, contract the core, flatten the low back, lift the upper body off the floor. Stay here. Inhale. Exhale, reaffirm. Inhale to lower. Last one. Exhale to rise. Inhale, sip the breath. Reaffirm that contraction. Inhale to lower. We're going to add a little rotation to this. You're squeezing the block between your thighs. We're going to bring the left arm over towards the right knee first. We're going to keep the right elbow in the ground. Take an inhale here. Start to close off that sea anemone. Lift the upper left back off the floor. The left elbow moves over towards the right knee. The right lower back presses into the floor, and the right elbow presses into the floor, and then inhale to lower. Squeeze the block, lift the right hand off the floor over towards the left knee. The left arm stays on the floor. Inhale to lower. Over towards the right. Inhale to lower. Think about the sea anemone closing off to the center, pressing back into the floor as you rotate side to side. It's the exhalation that lifts you up. Squeeze the block, flatten the low back into the floor. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale, lower. Keep moving back and forth, side to side, strengthen the diagonal aspects of the body. Very important for balance. One side of the brain talks to one side of the body. The other side of the brain talks to the other side of the body. The elbow is reaching over to the side and up to the kneecap. One more to each side. And then bring yourself to center. Bring the block off out of your knees. Bring your knees into your chest. I wish I knew how many of you had a block. I want to come into a supported bridge pose here to give a little relaxation to the body and to strengthen the upper core, which is a diaphragm. So we're going to place the block underneath the pelvis. And if you don't have a block and you have a blanket instead, can you fold your blanket pretty small so that you have a pretty big, you could get some height in your body here. This is called supported bridge pose. And then the diaphragm lines the lower ribs. So as you breathe and you expand your rib cage, I want your belly to rise with breath, strengthening the top of your core, your diaphragm, your primary breathing muscle. Arms are out to the side, palms are up towards the sky. Then push the chest up towards the sky as well. Inhale, let the belly rise. Exhale, soften. Inhale, supported back bend. Can be good for lowering blood pressure, little supportive for the heart. Make sure that your block is on your pelvis, not on your low back. So the very top edge of your pelvis is lined up with the top edge of your block. Take one more breath. We're going to take ourselves off of the block. So push your feet into the floor, lift your pelvis up, take the block out to the side. Now we're going to do a little bit to lengthen our thoracic spine, our upper spine. So we're going to do some rotation work. You actually may need your block for this or a pillow. So you're going to bring your knees over to the right. Now see how high my knees are? That's important. When your knees come, I want them to come high. Make sure your knees are not low here and you're not bringing your knees low to the side. I want the knees to be high when you bring them over to the side. And then for some of you, you may need a block between your knees, or some of you may even need a block here underneath your legs. So come over to the side, putting the block wherever. I like to support my lower leg. Then take your right hand underneath your head. Actually, that's not true. Sorry. Take your right hand out. Take your left hand on top of your right hand. This is called open book. We're going to rotate the spine from here, from the belly button on up is where I want the movement. So the block between your legs or underneath your legs, this top left thigh, I'd like it to stay where it is. I'd like it to not slide to the left, meaning that the pelvis is rocking to the left. I'd like you to stay on your right side body. Your kneecaps, if your kneecaps had lights on them, if they were flashlights, I want the light to point forward and not have this light start to point upward. Let them point forward. Take your left hand on top of your right hand. Inhale, slide your fingertips along your arm. When you get to your chest, slide your fingertips. The left fingertips are right at the left shoulder. The elbow is up towards the sky. Then slide that left shoulder blade towards the spine, towards the floor as you unbend and open yourself to the left. Notice what's happening to the knees. I'd like the knees to stay in alignment here and to not have that left knee slide back. Exhale to close. Inhale. It's called open book. And then exhale to close. Inhale. Exhale, close. One more. We're going to inhale and stay open. Inhale. Stay here. Line up your kneecaps, pointing your light forward. The arm may not touch the floor. So the goal is not to get the arm or to get that left shoulder blade to touch the floor. It's to go wherever you can comfortably. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself here. Now back, we're going to do chalk trace. Same rules apply with the lower leg with the pelvic area. Put your left hand on the floor like you have a piece of chalk. Then you're going to draw like you're drawing a line above you, like a semicircle above you. If you could keep the hand touching the floor, fine. And if you need to lift the hand off, that's okay too. When you come right above your head, lengthen your arm away so you have length in your spine as you keep tracing to come open. Don't let too much movement happen here in that leg. You don't have to be a stickler. But this one here, you're going to feel a lot in the shoulder and in the arm, the rotator cuff. So even if there's a little bit of movement there, there's safety valves in the body. And if the lower back is not meant to rotate, so the pelvis moving here is a safety valve in rotation. So just bringing your awareness to this. On your next one, you're going to lengthen when you're above yourself. Keep opening. Try to let it just be the arm that's doing this, and then open. Stretching the rotator cuff, the chest, the front body. Palm is up towards the sky. Stay here. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. We're going to do a butterfly. Take your right hand under your head. Take your left hand back. Now here, I'd like the knees to stay pretty close to each other. As you inhale, let the left elbow go up towards the sky. Let the left shoulder blade slide onto the spine. Let the upper trunk rotate towards the left. And then exhale back. We'll do 3 on the third one. We're going to hold. This is number 2. Inhale. Let the shoulder blade slide onto the spine so that the thoracic spine rotates. And then one more. Stay here. These were all taught to me by physical therapists. These 3 movements. Separating out, lengthening the upper body here, thoracic rotation, and then bring yourself out. We're going to do the other side. I think I'll put my back towards you so you can see what happens on the back side if you need to. Let's come back to neutral. Bring the block between, just bring your knees into your chest, and then let your knees go over to the left. So hopefully somebody doesn't just tune in midway and be like, wait, I can't, what are we doing? So your knees are pretty high. My knees are coming directly off my pelvis, putting a block in between the knees or in between the lower legs, whatever feels appropriate for you. We're going to begin with the book trace. So you take, or open book. So you take your hands here, you're on your left side. As you inhale, you slide your hands along. Let the shoulder blade slide towards the spine here as you then unbend your arm, letting your upper body open to the right. Exhale to close. Inhale to open. We do 3, and on the third one, we hold open. I think I may have done a few more on the other side because we were just learning this. That was 2. Let's do the third one and then stay open. Stay open here. Very therapeutic. Keep the knees in alignment. Keep the lights on the knees pointing towards your right. Feel that stretch. Hopefully you feel a stretch in the armpit area, chest area. This is really great for posture and for balance and for alignment, for stacking the upper body, stretching the upper body. Push the belly button to the spine if you feel anything uncomfortable in the back. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back. We're going to come to the chalk trace. So feel as if you're putting a piece of chalk on the floor. You could actually cradle your head here with your hand. Inhale, reaching up. When you get above you, reach, 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 reach. Keep the hand on the floor if you can. As you open, 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 open all the way to the right. Exhale to go back. For those of you with shoulder issues, just notice what you feel, do what you can. A lot of work here in the muscles, in the shoulder area, stretching the muscles, chest muscles, shoulder rotator muscles. And then the next one, we're going to hold it. Lengthen when you're above you, lengthen, 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 and then come into the rotation. Stay here. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself back. Let's do the butterfly pose. So you're going to clasp both hands behind your head. You're going to inhale, let your right elbow go up towards the sky. Slide the right shoulder blade onto the spine. Keep the knees in alignment. Don't let that upper knee move. And only open as much as you can. Push the heart forward. Exhale to close. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. Last one, inhale to open. Stay here. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and release, bring yourself back. I hope you guys are able to really feel this. I'm not there to see you. Really great for posture and alignment, the work that we just did, which will translate into balance. Let's rock all the way onto your right side. Using your left hand, you're going to push yourself up to a seated position. I want to make sure that I covered everything. I created this class before I came here. Okay, we're going to do one more thing before we get up. And this is a challenge. So you're all at home. So I won't be able to hear your expressions. We're going to come, it's a lot easier if you elevate your pelvis. So if you have a bolster, you might want to sit on a bolster doing this. Or if you have blankets, if you have a few blankets, you may want to fold 2 blankets. I think is Steve here in this class, or was he here in that last class? So I'm not sure, but you may want to, I'm just going to do this to the side because I want you to also see my spine here as well and my body position. So we're going to come to the very front edge of whatever it is you've chosen to sit on and take your legs wide. So I put 2 blankets there, which is not good for me. I'm pretty flexible, so I don't need to, but I did that. And then you're going to take your legs as wide as you can. Take your legs as wide as you can. And then I want the low back. I want this part of your body. So we want to take this out of the body. Make sure this is not in your body. That's why you're forward on your blanket, and that's why you're elevating your pelvis. And I may make this look easy. And for a lot of you out there, you're like, what? because this is really challenging. We're stretching, and for many of you, you feel a lot of tension here. This is good for knee health to stretch the tissue that has an effect on the knee. So opening up space on the knee, and then the inner thigh, the whole medial line of the body. We were doing the lateral side when we were doing our leg stretches. So here now to get that medial line of the body. If you are able to add flexion to your hip joints, so coming forward, my back is still straight. You can take your hands on your thighs. When you come forward, your back stays straight. This part of your chest reaches forward. Look up, look forward, and feel the stretch wherever you feel the stretch. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want this to happen. So coming forward is not about the head coming forward. You want your back to be nice and straight when you come forward. So come forward with a straight back as wide or as much as your body will allow you to do. You could put your hands in front of you if you'd like. You could put your hands on your thighs, whatever you need. Keep your back straight. That's important, straight back. And I know that many of you out there are nowhere near where I am in terms of being down, or at least if you're, most of you take my class, many people in the class can, even just having your legs out like this is enough pressure for you. So you do you. It doesn't matter how far down you go. Take one more breath and then bring yourself up. Okay, that was the whole medial chain here. Let's bring ourselves up. So we are doing a plank challenge, and many of you have noticed that you're getting stronger. If you're brand new, maybe all you could do is one breath. Maybe you could do 2 breaths, maybe 3. I have people that have worked themselves up to being able to stay up for 30 seconds when they could usually only stay up for about 10. So it's not about staying up for the whole minute. It's about coming into this and maybe even in and out of plank, depending. This right here, by the way, being in all fours and bringing your body weight forward, this is a form of plank. So do what's appropriate for you. If you feel tension in your tummy here that's appropriate, do that. Or come down into the forearm plank if you need to. And then when you're ready, bring yourself up into your plank pose. So we're going to be here for a minute. You're going to, well, for those of you that can, if you need to come down, you come down. Push all 10 toes into the floor. So feel that your pinky toe is also pushing into the floor if your knees are off the floor. And then the center of your heel, the very center of your heel is pushing back. And then reach out the crown of your head. So get nice and long here. Push your fingertips into the floor. Push your fingers into the floor. Push your thumbs in. Nice and long. Belly button is pushing up towards the spine. So bring your awareness to your sea anemone. And from the middle of the back of the body, can you close your sea anemone forward and then push the middle of your low belly up towards your spine to protect your spine. Reaching out the crown of your head, reaching out your feet. For those of you that are getting fancy, lifting a hand off one at a time or the feet, go ahead and do that. And then we're all going to come down. Let's come into child's pose. So if you can bend your knees, come all the way down into child's pose if that's available. If you have osteoporosis or your knees don't like to bend, take your hands very wide. Let your forehead, right where your forehead, if you had a unibrow, right where the eyebrows, above the eyebrows, let that forehead be on the floor. Take one more breath. And then let's go ahead and come all the way up. Bringing yourself up here. It's important to allow the calibration of your body from one position to the next, especially because this is a balance class, so you want to balance your blood pressure. And as we get older, we see the wrinkles on the outside. There's also wrinkles on the inside. So the pliability of the blood vessels minimizes as we get older. Or if we have chronic stress in our lives and we're not getting enough relaxation response in our body, then your blood vessels become less pliable due to stress, constant working out of contract, dilate, contract, release, and they get hard. and then they don't allow the blood to pump as freely. So calibrating your body in different positions for a certain amount of time is really safe and good for balance. Take your foot forward, flip your back toes under, and then you're going to bring yourself slowly to a standing position, coming all the way up. So I'd like you to have a chair here. You don't have to have a chair. It's just very loud. Oops. Are you sure? Siri's talking to me. Isn't that funny?
The current volume is 75%.
No. Okay. Siri got involved. Kind of funny. Okay. Move all your props off up to the side so that nothing is in the way and won't disrupt you. Get a chair if you have a chair, and if you don't have a chair, come over to a wall. And if you don't have a wall, maybe a piece of furniture will do. So if you have a piece of furniture that you can hold on to, and it's only in case you need it, so you may not even need that. Okay. Let's. I thought somebody said something. Okay. Or maybe somebody did, but I'll need to look at that after. Okay. So first thing I want to do was to stretch the back thighs. We've done quite a bit of that today. So I want you to either have a piece of furniture to reach onto, because I want your back to stay nice and straight. Feet can be underneath your pelvis if you're pretty limber, and if you're tight, you may need to put your feet back a little bit. Okay. So you see how straight my back is? I don't know if any of you have osteoporosis. Maybe none of you do, but this is what we don't want to do with the upper back if you have osteoporosis. So having something to reach onto, it can be a chair, it can be the wall, or it can be a piece of furniture. This is a fantastic thing to do in the kitchen, putting your arms on a countertop. So these are things too that you can learn to do off the mat. So you're going to take one leg at a time, bend one knee, and straighten the other. It's like prancing, like a prancing horse. You're going to feel the stretch behind your thigh, maybe behind the knee joint, maybe in the tushy. Push your heel into the floor, the straight leg heel into the floor, evenly, not just on the inside of the heel, inside, outside, and the middle, back and forth, side to side. And then bring yourself, bent knees, bring yourself up. Let's do a little bit to shift our weight, our body weight back and forth, and to feel that and to experience what that feels like. So you're going to bring your feet together. This is called mountain pose Tadasana. This is a balance pose. Look straight ahead. First look down at your feet. Toes are pointing straight ahead. So make sure you're not in an external rotation, which I find a lot of people stand in external rotation. Toes are pointing forward. Feet are coming right out of the sockets. And then turn your palms away from you. This will slide the shoulder blades onto the back. Bring your shoulders up for a second like you are wearing shoulder earrings, and then slowly, slowly let the shoulders go down. Imagine you have 2 helium balloons right here on these bones, the clavicle bones, and the helium balloons are gently lifting your chest up towards the sky. Make sure your chin is parallel to the floor and look straight ahead at something that is right in front of your eyes. Contract your core, so close off your sea anemone towards the center, pushing your sea anemone back towards the spine, and then lengthen your tailbone. Lengthen your tailbone down towards the ground. Then when you're here, I want you to bring your weight forward. Feel your toes press into the floor, and then slowly bring your weight backwards. Feel your heels take your weight. Push your body weight over to your left, and then push your body weight over to your right. Coming back to center, and play back and forth with that, going forward, going backward, going side to side. Increasing your ability to feel where your body weight is in space. Helping give your brain a fair chance to receive this information of where the body weight is. Just increasing your ability to communicate in your body. Then bring yourself back to center. So let's fire up the body's ability to communicate. Let's take the right foot, bring it up, and touch the right leg with the left hand, and then do the same thing. So touch the leg wherever. It could be the top of the thigh, it could be the inner knee, it could be the calf, or it could be the foot. Whatever you have the ability to do. Ooh, hard movement for me with a hip replacement. Hip flexion and external rotation. That's a lot to ask that hip to do. And then can you kick your leg forward? Kick your leg forward, maybe touch your knee. The body weight goes back and forth side to side. This is actually a really great way to get yourself really in a place to be able to do balance, because this diagonal patterning is firing up the brain. When I was in India and they taught us this, he was telling us that when you touch the opposite foot with the opposite hand, that you are firing up the brain with so many neurons, because there's so many neurons dedicated to feet and to hands. So in particular, foot and the hands, but here, not everybody can reach their foot, especially not without rounding their spine. Okay, bring yourself back to center. Maybe you notice also a little bit happens here in the quadriceps, which is supportive for the knees. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves onto our left foot. So I'm assuming on this side of the screen, it's the left foot. So bring yourself onto your left foot. And maybe you need the chair. That's why the chair is here. You're going to take the right foot off the floor, bring the right foot forward, and then take the right foot back. And bring the right foot forward, and bring the right foot back. Bring yourself to neutral. Take the foot out to the side and back. Out to the side and back. And then just come down and stand on that leg. Just notice what you notice. Okay? If you are feeling, if this is feeling super easy and you want to go a little more forward, bring your foot forward, bring your foot back. You can even let your torso come along for the ride. I want you to feel the foot that's on the floor, feel the heel, feel the feet holding on, the toes holding on, backwards and forward, and then come to center. Take your leg out to the side and back. This is your glute minimus and medius, tensor fascia lata, lateral chain strengthening, important for the kinetic chain to stay up, and then also important for balance. Bring yourself back to center. Go ahead and shake your legs out. So there's just so many facets to this. It's not just, oh, we're doing this for balance. We're single leg standing. We're compressive force in the joint. We're strengthening the top of the femur bone. We're strengthening the hip capsule and balance and coordination in the joints. And so it's just a lot of good stuff happening. Can't get too carried away here. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit with looking side to side now. So you're gonna come onto your left leg, take your right foot up, bring your right foot forward and back, and look over to the left, look over to the right when you do this. So add your visual field changing side to side. And notice how this is a little bit more challenging. And then bring yourself back to center. For me, that is adding challenge. Like I almost fell out of that, and that was my good, strong leg, strong hip. Well, it's not true. Okay, come over to your right side. You're going to bring your leg forward, bring your leg back, and now start to add looking to side when you do this. And then bring yourself back to center. Shake your legs. Okay, we're going to do tree pose because that's all we're going to have time for today. Let's come on to our feet are pointing forward. Bring your body weight over to your left. Come onto your right tippy toes. Take your right knee out to the side and then bring your right foot up so it's in between the knee and the ankle joint. If you can do this, if you could bring your arms up, bring your arms up. If you need the chair is there, or the piece of furniture or the wall. And then push your right foot into your lower left leg. Your gaze is straight in front of you at something that doesn't move. Your chin is parallel to the floor. Lengthen your spine. Take one more breath. And then slowly bring yourself out. Let's bring ourselves to the other side. You're going to bring your body weight over to your right side. Come onto your left tippy toes. Let your left knee angle out to the left and then pick your left foot up. Put your left foot in between the knee and the ankle. Bring your hands up if you can. If you need to touch something, I'd rather you touch down with your hand and not your foot. I'd like you to stay in the single leg balance. This is good for strengthening the lateral chain, which is very important for balance and keeping the strength on the sides of the body so the body doesn't put too much force inward, and also for helping with with arches in your feet. I notice the breakdown of the body is very medial. Ooh, I was looking away when I was talking. Take one more breath and then bring yourself back to center. Take your leg, roll your leg around in the socket in one direction and then in the other direction. The other leg. You could hold on to something if you need. Okay, I think that's all I have time for today. I hope that was good. That's most of the stuff I wanted to get to today. So I'm really excited that I was able to share all of that with you. It's time to end. If you have a wall, having your legs up the wall is a really nice way to end. Otherwise, you can put your legs up the chair. You could put your bolster underneath your thighs. So whatever is comfortable for you. The last part of class is for you to connect. It's your small self connecting to your big self is what it is, really. To let go, let whatever. Bringing your awareness to your breath. And just relax, relax, relax. Kalyan, Nilame, Kame, Govinde, Mukande, Udare, Pare, Hariyan, Kalyan, Nilame, Kame. Gently begin to deepen your breath. And start to wiggle your fingers, your toes, rolling your ankles and your wrists. And then wherever you are, gently bend your knees, bring your knees into your chest. Take your knees side to side. And then roll onto your right side. And then gently push yourself up to a seated position. Coming into a seated position, we're going to close the practice with sound. We're going to use the sound om, blending the ah or the a sound, the o and the sound. Bringing that sound from the back of the throat through the center of the mouth to the lips, the end with the mm. Bring your hands together, sit nice and tall, the thumbs touch the sternum bone. Take a deep breath down to your belly. We bow to each other in namaste. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to know how you feel. If you can text or chat with me. Chat with me. Text me. Huh? Let me know how that was. Oh, wow. Oh, Michael, that's interesting because Michael was saying that he needs to practice balance stuff because Michael takes my yoga for wellness in person and he's never done the balance, which is amazing because you're a surfer, right? So I would think you'd have really good balance. There's a degenerative aspect to balance no matter who we are. And even people with strong practice of yoga and also other, surfing and all that, that seems to be something that is affected in our bodies. So the more we practice, it really does get better. I've watched hundreds of people improve their balance over the years. And a really great indicator for the new people is the spinal balance pose, where you come onto all fours, you put one hand forward and one leg back. That's such a great indicator. In the beginning, people are so weak usually with that. And then over months of practice, it's amazing how stable the eyes they are. So today's class, we put ourselves into different positions with balance to challenge ourselves. And then the interesting thing too is then when you add the head in one direction or the other, and even for me, I've got really strong balance. I do this all the time. And when I look to the side, it's like, whoa. So yes, it's interesting. And, just the more you practice. And so now we're at home and there's so much practice. This class is recorded. You could even do this class over and over. Where are my glasses? I'm going to have to squint. Rosanna, yay. Hi. So good to have you here. And Betty, have I met you before? I don't think so. Okay, great. Well, I'm glad to have you, Betty. And then if there's anything you girls tell me about your issues in your tissues, replacement parts, injuries, surgeries, it helps me when I teach to shout out a little extra something to some of you that have stuff. Yes, George, thank you for joining. And Nancy, you feel good. Love the lateral. Really great. Yeah, Nancy, I love it. I love that you know all this. And see, Michael's here with us also. Um, Surfing is easier. Do you think surfing is easier because you're not afraid of falling as much because it's water? Or is it more grounding mentally? It's interesting. Or is it a lower center of gravity because your knees are bent? Because when we bend our knees, we actually use the knee joint to help out. And this was more of a standing single leg. And I don't know that we were bending our knees. So that's an interesting thing, Michael. Try that with a bent knee, see how it feels. You know, where you're doing your body weight. And then when we see Nancy, lateral chain stretches. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are great. Um, and then Debbie, I'm so glad to have you here. I was just thinking about you. I was going to text you to see where the heck are you. And I think now I remember you did tell me that you couldn't chat. And then today, for some reason, people have been able to chat that couldn't before, um, because you're moving. Oh, that's really interesting. It's so interesting. You're in a squatted position, you're trying to balance yourself on a board. There is that pressure of water pushing into you, your board pushing down on the water. And then there's the movement. Why wouldn't that be harder to do than being on a single leg? Ooh, so many things to think about in that. So much research to be done, right? That puts me into such an inquisitive place of the brain in motion versus in being stationary. Oh, that is so interesting. I love that. Like I can't help my brain goes to like, oh my gosh, no. Okay. Well, that's it for now. You guys can look at recorded videos when we're off tomorrow. Saturday morning is yoga therapy for stress reduction, or do I call it yoga? Whatever. Um, because I have that degree, yoga therapy, because I spent 1,000 extra hours to get that degree and learned as much as I did, I feel like it has to be a part of what I say because I really do cater this towards potential clinical issues that many of us have. And that's what makes it different, I think, is that awareness of clinical conditions. Um, yeah, see, Nancy saying you're amazing. Nancy sits right across from you usually. Um, All right. So anyway, I'm gonna leave. I need to eat. Um, Thank you so much for joining me. If you're not subscribed, right below here is the subscribe button. Thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. Comment if you'd like. I have cooking classes on my YouTube channel, Debbie Robinson Wellness. Tomorrow I plan to put a few more on. I think I'm going to do this creamy tofu sauce that is TDF to die for. And I'm going to do a cashew nut based um, either cheese sauce for a vegan macaroni and cheese, gluten free, of course, or a Caesar dressing recipe made with cashews. I mostly eat a very plant rich diet. Last night I made grilled cod fish tacos. So I did have wild cod last night because I can't, what was I reading? Now with all this talk of boosting our immune system with COVID-19, there's a lot of talk about minerals, macro and micronutrient needs. And I'm following a lot of doctors. So I was listening to Dr. Christiane Northrup, and I believe she mentioned cod, and it might have been vitamin D. Um, so the needs for certain vitamins and minerals is more important than ever. And I believe it's better to get it through the food because then we know it's actually being digested and assimilated potentially. We don't always know what our supplements contain. So anyway, all right, that is it. Thank you for staying with me, those of you that just did while I'm rambling. Anyway, thank you so much. And I'll see you hopefully Saturday or next week. All right, bye.